Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor, and I just had to go get my 7-year-old from his grandmother's because he was homesick. And so, but while I was going to handle that, I was listening to this CNBC press conference with the Treasury Secretary, Steve Mnuchin, I guess is how you say his name. And let me tell you what, the video I'm about to present to you today, the things I'm about to show you make me more confident, about 100-fold more confident than I was when I woke up this morning about XRP and Ripple. This is unbelievable, the things that were being said and the things that were not being said in this in his press conference. It's really unbelievable. And then I'm going to show you something that I just got hit with. The one and only Brad Garlinghouse came out and put one of his best tweets I've ever seen out in response to the Treasury Secretary doing this press conference. Okay, by the end of this video, you will know that it's not just a tagline that I created, that XRP is the greatest digital asset ever created. At the end of this video, you will understand why, and you will know that it's true. Okay, but first I want to start with this. 2 tweets from Mr. B at XRP. Mr., who thinks that Lagarde and Trump have actually had a conversation about XRP? I'm curious to see those numbers. 72% of people think that they have. I am in the 72. I actually took the poll, and I'm in that 72%. There's not a question in my mind that Trump knows about Ripple and XRP and has had discussions more than one time about XRP. But I thought that was an interesting poll he did. The next thing, now this is about the press conference that was had. Mr. B XRP at XRP Mr. Did anyone else notice how when CNBC had the press conference on that they were showing the price of Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Litecoin, but ignored the one that shall not be spoken of? In other words, XRP is now the 3rd largest market cap, but they skip right over it and they include Litecoin instead. That is intentional, folks. I've been doing this. I've been studying Ripple and XRP for over 5 years, and I've been doing this channel for over a year and a half, I think. And this is intentional. It's intentional from the media. It's intentional from the government officials. It's intentional from all of the powers that be, including owners in Ripple, the company. There is a blackout when it comes to XRP and Ripple. They do not speak about it. And there's a reason for it. I've said this since I began this channel. There's a reason none of them will say XRP or Ripple. It will not happen. And they don't do it, I believe, intentionally, because there is something much larger at play behind the scenes. I have believed that for at least the last year. Okay, so here we go. This was Steve Mnuchin today. And this is from Mr. DeCrypto at Mr_DeCrypto. He says at 1:45. The guy says, Mnuchin says, to be clear, now this is the main thing, this is the good thing for crypto in general that came out of this. To be clear, the United States welcomes responsible innovation, including new technologies that may improve the efficiency of the financial system and expand access to financial services. Okay, so there's your line that tells you crypto's here to stay. They are not going to declare crypto illegal and ban it. All they're talking about getting control of is financial crimes and money laundering. And that is code for we want to make sure that you're not hiding your money so that we can't tax it. I've told you also from the beginning of this channel, this is all about taxes. They do not, the federal government is scared to death of digital assets being a vehicle for people to hide money and get around paying taxes, because that could really hurt the United States. And that's what they want to get they can call it money, they can say they're worried about money laundering. They can say that they're worried about financial crimes. They can say that they're worried about the consumer all they want. But what it's ultimately about is taxes. And I understand. I mean, I've told you every time the word taxes has come up on this channel, pay your taxes in crypto, because they will figure out a way to find your crypto. Believe you me, you're not going to hide your money from the IRS in the United States. I don't know how other governments work, but pay your taxes. Okay, so that's the first theme to get out of this video, is that they're telling you, they know that this, and I've made this point before as well. They know, and he mentioned this in the video as well. This is a global asset, and the United States knows that they can't crack down on something that's going to be a thing worldwide, because it would hurt the United States from an innovation standpoint. So that's the first thing that you need to get out of this. Then I thought this was funny. XRP Yoda was apparently watching Alex Cobb's stream, and he says, in a nutshell, Bitcoin is naughty and bad. Bitcoin, don't buy Libra because we are shifting our pants. I think he said that wrong. XRP behind the framework. Shh. Don't say Ripple or XRP. That's the first rule of XRP. So Mnuchin did not say XRP, but what the next thing I was literally driving down the road when I heard this question come out of the audience that I'm about to show you, and I actually wrote down as best I could make it out. This is from Heisenzert, at Heisenzert, so he must be a Breaking Bad fan, which is one of my favorite shows ever. He says, listen to the question pointed specifically to Ripple without saying it, so it could be answered. Sounds like he's got a bag of Zerps and he needed to clarify the FUD was just for Libra and BTC. Folks, I'm telling you, and I wrote in here in my reply, I almost spit out my cinnamon coffee when I heard that question. This was, in fact, I was driving down the road, and I'll admit it, I texted Mr. B. I texted Mr. B and I said, did you just hear that question? And here's the gist of what the question was this is to the Treasury Secretary of the United States, folks. And by the way, before I tell you this question, do you realize that inside of 1 week, we've had the President of the United States talk about it, we've had the Federal Reserve Chairman talk about it, and the Treasury Secretary of the United States? Three of the most important people in the United States government have felt the need to address cryptocurrencies in just 1 week. If you have never believed a word I've said, believe it now. This is about to be a really, really, really big deal. Crypto is about to be a huge deal. This guy, they have given their blessing for crypto, and he did it in this whole thing. Okay, now I want to show you. This is literally a question about Ripple, and what's even better is the first thing is that the Treasury Secretary avoids, he goes really fast to get away from painting Ripple in any kind of corner, even though nobody said Ripple. That's what they're talking about. The question was from a guy in the audience, and he said, "You seem to be painting everybody, in other words, all these cryptos, with the same brush." And I couldn't make out exactly the wording, but I caught enough where I was like, "Oh, he's talking about Ripple." But then he says, he says, "You're painting everybody with the same brush," and then he says something to the effect of, "You have some crypto." It was like he was going to say, "You have some crypto companies or cryptos," and then he says that are talking to the have been talking to the CFTC, IMF, Lagarde, ECB, and regulators around the world getting this done, something to that effect. And the second he said it, I was like, ding, ding, ding. He's asking him why you're trying to lump all of these digital assets, including Ripple, who has been working with regulators from the very beginning, from the inception. Okay. Now, I'm going to make a point that I've made many, many times on this channel. I told you all that I am as mad at the government for the financial crisis and the bailouts and everything that went down as any Bitcoin maximalist in the world. But I've told you so many times, the reason I decided that XRP was the way to go, I said, if I was 18 years old when I discovered digital assets, I probably would have gone the anarchist route and said, yeah, and down with the government. I'm a Bitcoin guy. I probably would have been one of those guys. But I discovered it in my late 30s. And for that reason, I know better than to think anybody's going around governments of the world. And for that reason, I saw that Ripple was going to the regulators, and they were smart enough to know that you're not going to be some kind of anarchistic digital asset. It's not going to work that way. You're not going to overthrow governments with your digital assets. That's not what's going to happen. But that doesn't mean that we as investors could not take part in the revolution in finance that was going to happen. That is why I went with XRP, because as an older person who had been around, I saw it as the smart play. And it has been the smart play. And that's why you're seeing the Treasury Secretary, you're seeing Trump, you're seeing the Fed chair. They'll say bad things about Libra, which is corporate sponsored, and Bitcoin, which they see as kind of like an anarchistic thing. They'll say bad things about those, but they won't even say the word Ripple or XRP because Ripple respected the government and went straight to the regulators from day one. And for that reason, you and I are sitting in a position of potential crazy returns as this thing goes off. That has been the point all along. I was right. You were right if you invested in XRP. We've been right all along. It was the smart decision to go with XRP. And that's what you're seeing right here. Okay, next, I got this from two guys, Brian Melancholy XRP and Andy Cross sent it to me as well. And it was this clip from Treasury. I mean, the things coming out of this are crazy. Treasury Secretary, this was today, same conference. This is a quote, this is intended to be a level playing field, whether you're MoneyGram or you're a bank. We do encourage, now look at that, folks. He says level playing field, and then he says MoneyGram, which Ripple just partnered with to deploy XRP. We do encourage, and there's been a lot of financial innovation away from banks for electronic payment systems. We want technology to evolve. And then, folks, this is crazy. Guess who comes out after all of this? That is all, it's all screaming Ripple and XRP. And then right after that, Brad Garlinghouse decides that he's going to put out a tweet. I've never seen him put out a tweet like this. And I'm reading every word of it to you. Just let me have a sip of coffee for this. Just watched Steve Mnuchin's press conference on regulating crypto and have personally spoken to him on this topic. I've also been ruminating on Donald Trump's tweets on crypto last week. I agree that crypto isn't likely to replace fiat currencies. I have been very vocal that crypto isn't likely to disrupt the US dollar and other G20 currencies in my lifetime. But as Mnuchin indicated, the entire crypto industry should not be painted with one broad brush. It has come a long way since the days of Silk Road. For the industry to succeed, we need to work with regulators and within policies, full stop. When I read the Libra white paper outlining a goal to create a new fiat currency, it was clear to me that the effort should be held to the same standard as the other regulated financial institutions. XRP is uniquely equipped to solve a multi-trillion-dollar problem by offering a dramatically faster and cheaper bridge for cross-border payments. Ripple already works with regulators, banks, and financial institutions like MoneyGram to implement this around the world. I hope there is no ignoring, laughing, or fighting as it relates to regulation of crypto. If we want to maximize progress forward, it's about working with the existing financial system, not against it. If not, we risk squashing innovation here in the U.S. and letting foreign interests take control of this new sector of our global economy. Boom, folks. This might be the most important video that I've ever done. I might just put that in the title. And finally, I was going to show you this first. This was my tweet. Crypto has now been directly addressed by the President of the United States, the Federal Reserve, and the U.S. Treasury all in 1 week. All we need now is Kim Kardashian to weigh in, and it's bull time. Hashtag XRP. That's exactly right. I stand by this tweet. I think that Kim Kardashian is the only person who can now make the general public take crypto seriously. I don't think it's going to be coming from any of these important guys. It's got to be someone much more important like Kim Kardashian. I think that's the sad state of our country at this point. Okay, now this was a great tweet too. Michael Devlin, 1990 saw the dot-com boom that skeptics called a scam. The proverbial bust wasn't failure. It was industry resetting and accepting its fate to innovation. Google, Amazon, etc. It took just 10 years. 2008 saw the financial collapse and Bitcoin was born. 2008, the proverbial bust. Bitcoin wasn't bust either, and like the dot-com boom, it was the financial industry's time to reset and accept its fate to innovation 10 years on from its collapse in 2008. See the similarities? Digital assets are without a doubt the financial industry's dot-com boom. If we could turn back, most of us would invest in Amazon, Google, etc. And right now, there's never been a bigger chance to grab an invested piece of evolution in the form of digital assets. Do your research and pick your tech. This is what I believe Joel Katz was saying. Boom, boom, boom. Exactly right. I'm the digital asset investor, and I've been right all along. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe and hit the like button and tell your friends and family that the Treasury Secretary of the United States just talked about Ripple and XRP without talking about them. And just last week, I think we showed a video from Christine Lagarde doing the same. It's happening, folks. Thanks for listening.